The date is December 15th, 1966, and the new episode of Star Trek is on tonight. One of the first episodes of the original series. But in Washington, D.C. that same day, a totally different conversation about space unfolded just hours earlier. This is Martin Luther King Jr. talking about economic inequality with the Senate subcommittee. In questioning why the U.S. wasn't doing more to address poverty, he was also questioning why the country was instead investing billions into the space race. Fast forward 55 years. The original Star Trek series that made William Shatner famous is long over. And so is the space race that was happening while it premiered. But Shatner is heading to the cosmos amid a new age of space exploration. It's one powered by billionaires rather than governments, and it's happening amid rising rates of economic inequality. By the mid-1960s, Martin Luther King had led demonstrations that helped bring about landmark civil rights laws. Now, a new fight was on the horizon.
It is necessary to see at this point that the issues which we confront are the hard, core economic issues.
I think all of this was stimulated by the violence that occurred in Los Angeles.
In the summer of 1965, LA saw an uprising in Watts, a predominantly black neighborhood. A commission later found its root causes to be high unemployment, under-resourced schools, and poor living conditions. After the uprising, King flew out to Los Angeles.
And I think he recognized that the movement that he had led in the South to bring about the end of Jim Crow had to be extended nationwide to deal with the problems that were still very pressing.
That brings us to the space race. When King spoke before the Senate, he said addressing poverty should be a greater priority than space exploration.
There's sort of a belief as we think back in time that everybody loved the space program, everybody loved Apollo. The public liked it. They did not like the cost of it.
Footage and audio of King's specific remarks to the Senate about this isn't readily available, but there is a transcript. He said of the space race, quote, "We have intensified its inherent drama and brought its adventure into every living room, nursery, shop, and office. No such fervor nor exhilaration attends the war on poverty."
Without denying the value of scientific endeavor, there's a striking absurdity to committing billions to reach the moon where no people live, while the densely populated slums are allocated minuscule appropriations.
With the continuation of these strange values in a few years, we can be assured that we will set a man on the moon. And with an adequate telescope,
he will be able to see the slum on Earth with their intensified congestion, decay, and turbulence. On what scale of values is this a program of progress?
Putting the money against a lunar program did a couple of different things, and it's really critical.
The Kremlin, fortress of communist doctrine.
The United States and the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 60s up until about 1990 were locked in a death struggle. When you're looking at a global struggle in which there is a coalition of allies, this was really about trying to bring into that coalition non-aligned nations. $25 billion expended on Apollo helped to win that Cold War coalition building process pretty fundamentally. And I would contend that it was money well spent. Notwithstanding the very real issues that Dr. King laid out.
I think he would say the same thing about the allocation of resources to the war in Vietnam and to the military in general. We have no problem spending trillions of dollars to fight wars we don't win, while trillions of dollars would solve the war on poverty. The question is, why don't we do it?
These issues haven't gone away. In 2020, the poverty rate for Black Americans was more than double that of white Americans. The resources that King said should be reallocated from space exploration and militarism to economic justice still haven't been. And today, much of those resources are coming from wealthy individuals, not the government.
If Dr. King could see this going on today, what do you think he would say?
He would probably make a very similar statement. We still don't have a sense of the same kind of commitment to ending poverty. We try to solve problems that we can solve rather than trying to, in some ways, subdue the world to our will.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
We're dealing with issues now that will call for something of a restructuring of the architecture of American society. It's going to cost the nation something.